Right, it's been a while since I've recorded something with my face, so I'm a little nervous now, but, you know, I'm sure it'll be fine, I'm sure it'll be fine. Hey guys, this is something that I think is quite an important topic to talk about, because as somebody who has done videos on the Steam Deck and other computer stuff, I guess, I feel like this is quite an important topic. Now, obviously there's been this whole controversy with Gavins, Nexus and Linus Tech Tips and blah blah blah, and I'm not going to get into all the specifics. I mean, if you're somebody who really wants to get into the specifics of all that kind of stuff, then obviously you can go and check out the videos. So this is obviously the Gamers Nexus one, but the Linus Media Group also did one with like a bunch of their team and stuff. You can go and follow all the drama if that's really it for you. But for me, the reason why I wanted to make this video in particular is because I wanted to talk about reviews and what you should expect from a review. For me, there's two different types of reviews. So you got the one type of review, it's very factual, it's very evidence-based, and overall there's like a very specific objective conclusion. And there's the other review, which is what I do a lot, a much more subjective one, where there's obviously going to be some kind of bias, there's going to be some kind of opinion, but it's still that person's experience. So in my case, for example, with the Steam Deck, I didn't go into like very specific performance numbers. I didn't go like, oh, at 800p 30 fps we're seeing minimum of 25 frames per second and a maximum of 30 and blah blah blah, because to me that's not necessarily what's important. Like, it's not that that kind of content is wrong by any stretch of the imagination. Like, there is a place for that kind of content, but for me personally, that's just not how I play my games that much. I don't care that much about very specific frame time or frame numbers or blah blah blah. I just want my game experience to be good, and so I review my content in that way. So if the gaming experience is good for me, that's how I would do it, and if the gaming experience is not good for me, then that's how I say it. Now obviously I'm a dum-dum sometimes. I, make mistakes like everybody does. So for example, with my shorts in particular, the Battlefront shorts, people did not like that at all. And I can kind of understand now, because when I first posted that, it was a lot more in frustration because the game should have ran better than it did. And I didn't really know why. And I just assumed it was the Steam Deck itself. But in hindsight, it may possibly have been the SD card, because I've had a lot of issues. And that's a whole palaver that I want to do a video on at some point as well. I was just double checking it's recording then. I was like panicking then. I just lost my point now. The SD card itself was a fake, possibly, because I gotta give a big shout out to my good friend Gavin, as he showed me how he had a similar issue with an SD card where one of the SD cards was a fake, even though it seemed very convincing and he believed it at first, like as a real card, but after 2 months it failed. And that's a very similar thing what happened to me. The whole point is, with that Battlefront 2 video, I think it may have been the SD card, which is the reason why it was performing worse than it should have. Because what I said partway through is I said that I was running on high game settings or whatever it was. And a lot of people took a lot of issue with that, because they were like, well, you're playing it at high settings, of course, play it at low settings, you idiot. The reason why I said I played it on high was because it didn't make any difference. It doesn't matter if I played it on high, medium or low. The stuttering was so bad that it made it irrelevant. But at the same time, I see how dumb it was to say it's on high and then claim it runs bad. That wasn't the point, but in hindsight, I definitely see how much of a silly decision that was. It's almost like I'm apologizing in this video just by making a dumb mistake like that. I find that quite funny, but I guess it kind of is, because even on a very small level, you need to take accountability, because things can escalate very, very quickly. A lot of the dumb things you do may initially seem like they're just a dumb mistake, but then if they keep getting repeated, they can seem a lot more of an issue than maybe they were on their own. Like the issues compound. Again, I've just lost my trail of thought again. But yeah, I mean, I make mistakes, and again, that was for that Battlefront 2, that was my viewpoint and my opinion. But obviously I never claimed that is just how all Steam Decks work, or that's, what you should expect necessarily. I was saying this is my experience and this is different from somebody else's. But that was the whole main point I wanted to make this video, was specifically to say, if you're looking at a YouTube video for advice or to see whether something's worth buying, the frame rate, the frame time, the fancy blah blah blah, whatever, never take one channel's or one person's opinion but go based on that. That very rarely ever works, because one opinion and one viewpoint could be quite different, or even very different, to another viewpoint or another person's opinion. I mean, I guess in the case for me, I was looking for a laptop a couple of years ago, and I had to get one very soon for reasons I wouldn't get into. And I watched one of Jarrod's videos, Jarrod's Tech's videos. I pretty much solely went based on his review, and it worked out really great, actually. Like, there isn't really any issues with the laptop. There's a couple of things I don't like. It's getting a bit slower than I would have expected for this kind of computer, but but 95% for you is great. So in some cases it can work out, but in most cases it probably won't. So especially LTT was a lot more of an entertainment channel, in my opinion. Makes videos for entertainment rather than specific research. But then obviously he had his old labs thing and everything, and there was a lot of issues with a lot of the data that LTT collected, and this isn't like an opinion or anything, this is just factual evidence. And again, I'm not going to get into the whole semantics of it, I'm just saying this to back up a point. Again, you can go and watch the Gamers Nexus and Linus blah 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 video if you want more information. The problem is that there was too many, too frequently. And regardless of whether or not the issues were intentional or mistakes or whatever, the point being is that some of that information was inaccurate, and if a viewer or a potential buyer looked at one video and went, okay, I'm going to buy this product or I'm not going to buy this product now, they would be making that decision based on wrong information. Never take one channel's opinion. Like, for example, if you're somebody who just watches Linus Tech Tips, go to Gamers Nexus, go to Hardware Unbox, go to Jarrod's Tech, go to whoever as well. Try and watch as many videos as you can with different opinions to make an overall informed opinion, because that's something what I do when I try and buy stuff. I don't always just look at one channel and go, okay, I should get this or I shouldn't get this. I mean, maybe in some scenarios that it works like that, but in others you need to watch multiple different channels. And especially when I did Steam Deck stuff, I hope nobody just watched my video and went and bought a Steam Deck, because not only am I not getting paid by Valve, but on top of that, I don't want people watching just my video. My opinion may be different to someone else's. Even I'm considering selling my Steam Deck because I just don't use it anymore. That was one of the things I was going to bring out in my other video, but I may as well say it now. It's just the reason why I haven't been making Steam Deck content is because I haven't been using it. I've got a gaming laptop and I mainly just use that. I guess the point I'm trying to make is, like, earlier on, I really liked the Steam Deck and I told everyone they should get it. But then later on, I'm like, actually, some of the people I might have said, you should get a Steam Deck, it may not have actually worked out for them. Whereas if they watched my channel and then someone else's channel and someone else's channel, oh, I hit the microphone there, they would get an overall much more informed opinion and would be able to make a better decision as to whether or not they should buy the Steam Deck. And the other thing I wanted to say is my channel has never been data analytics. I said datas if it's like some kind of Pokemon. My channel has never been about data analytics, like very in-depth research. My videos have always been about my experience, and I think I did cover this a bit before, but honestly my brain forgets that quickly. Like, that's not even whatever, it's just I literally just forget what I've said half the time. So I hope that when people come to my channel, they don't expect me, like, if I do a review, they don't expect there's going to be a very accurate, very specific review, but rather it's just, hey, I'm a dude who bought this thing, this is my experience with it. Is the experience always correct? Not necessarily. With the Battlefront video and with the Steam Role Manager video, those were more out of frustration, and the comments reflected that. A lot of people were annoyed that I was annoyed, which completely makes sense. My opinion may not even always be correct or factual or whatever, because either I'm just too lazy to check it, or I've done something really dumb that I haven't noticed. It could be whatever. But my reviews are just, they are my experience, they are my opinions. I'm not going to like filter them to make Valve happy or whatever, or whoever company is, because that's my experience, and I feel like it's kind of pointless, like, bro, pretending something is good when it isn't, and vice versa. But even then, sometimes I might have a bit of bias. I might say a product is better than it is, or a product is worse than it is, and then later on realize, actually, I was a bit harsh, or I was a bit too lenient. That's just who I am. Like, when I'm really excited about a product, like the honeymoon phase as they would call it, I'm like, oh, this is the best thing ever made. And then a few months later, I'll be like, it was really cool, but then there's also this and this, and actually it's not as cool as I thought, or I just don't use it as much. And I guess that's kind of with this similar thing with the Steam Deck, because it was so cool at first, but the more I used it, the more I was like, I could just use my laptop. And especially because I'm really excited for that GPD Mini. Again, I'll go into that in another video, but if there's any two takeaways from this, is never watch one channel if you're actually making a purchase decision. If it's just entertainment, then obviously that's fine, but if you're legitimately thinking about buying something, never watch just one channel. And the other thing is, I hope people don't come to my channel expecting very detailed, specific reviews. Mine is just my experiences. They may be biased, they may have blah blah blah. One thing that I'm really careful about, and is a core part of my character as a person is being honest and making sure that my reviews are my experience and that is how I feel. If somebody walked up to me and went, what would you think about the Steam Deck? My videos is how I feel about them, because that is incredibly important to me, and I would know in the back of my head if I said something that was like untrue or something that I didn't personally feel, like it would eat me up inside. So I just wouldn't be capable of holding that in. And hopefully, you know, if I ever did do something like that for whatever reason, I would hope the community would hold me responsible for that, because that's what a normal human being would do. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of content creators these days aren't like that. And again, I'm not going to cause drama or anything here, I'm just saying as it is. If you agree with these points, please let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And thanks for watching, and I hope you keep these points in mind. Bye.